Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
What verse are we on?
59.
59.
Contents of the Gita summarized.
Huh?
Contents of the Gita summarized.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, 59.
59. Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharasya Dehinaha Rasaha Varjam Raso Ati Asya Param Vishva Vartate Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharasya Dehinaha Rasavarjam Rasopyasya Nivartate Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharasya Dehinaha Savarjam Rasopyasya Drishva Nivartate
Vishaya Vinivartante Rasya Dehina Rasopi Nirvritate
Objects for sense enjoyment. Vinivartante are practiced to be refrained from. Niraharasya by negative restrictions. Dehinaha for the embodied. Rasavarjam giving up the taste. Rashaha sense of enjoyment. Api although there is. Asya his. Param far superior things. Drishtva by experiencing. Nivartate he ceases from. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he's fixed in consciousness. Unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. The process for restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulation is something like restricting a diseased person from certain types of edibles. The patient, however, neither likes such restriction nor loses his taste for edibles. Similarly, sense restriction, like some spiritual processes like Ashtanga Yoga, in the matter of Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharayana, Dhyana, etc., is recommended for less intelligent persons who have no better knowledge. But one who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for dead material things. Therefore, restrictions are there for the less intelligent neophytes in the spiritual advancement of life. But such restrictions are only good until one actually has a taste for Krishna consciousness. When one is actually Krishna conscious, he automatically loses his taste for pale things. I was just reading this and I came across something. higher taste is Srimad Bhagavatam and holy name and association of Vaishnavas and prasadam, all of these things are that higher taste. So when one experiences something superior, and in this age, let me read this here, because I was looking in the, you see in King Nini, he asked the 9 sages, he was asking questions, and then he wanted to know about in Kali Yuga. He wanted to know what are the incarnations. So they briefly described these incarnations, and when they came to Kali Yuga, he quoted this verse, which is, everyone knows this verse, and this is the hidden verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which describes Lord Chaitanya, because people ask, and I was asked in my young days this type of question by today is Madhvacharya's appearance day. Appearance, correct? Do you know that? Anyway, I was in Udupi. Udupi is the seat of Madhvacharya, and the swamis there are very, very learned. They pick them when they're boys. They don't just come off the street. They are picked when they are boys, and they are trained by the previous higher sannyasis, and through astrology and everything they can understand that this boy, he will be able to be a successor of this line, and he will not have any inclination towards going towards sense gratification. So they study, and they're very, very learned in all the previous acharyas' teachings. But their defect is they don't worship Radharani, and they don't accept Lord Chaitanya. They don't accept him as God. They accept him as a great devotee. They accept that he did exist, and he was real, but they don't accept him as the personality of Godhead. So when I was there, I think I was 20 years old, and I was trying to defeat these fellows. And we didn't have any books then. We only had a blue Bhagavad Gita and the Krishna book and the Nectar of Devotion. So I really wasn't well equipped nor trained enough. And then they told me that Lord Chaitanya is not God. We don't see that in the Bhagavatam. And Radharani is not mentioned in the Bhagavatam. So I was a bit stumped because I could not answer them. And it was in a big assembly. There was too many people. And then the only thing I could come, because Krishna always saves us from all defeat, total defeat. I asked him then, what is the Yuga Dharma? And he said, Harinam Sankirtan. That's according to the scripture. And I asked him, then why aren't you doing that? You're all reading these old leaf books of Jayatirtha and the old acharyas. And they did enjoy that. And they invited us to the Janmashtami ceremony as guests of honor. But later on, when I met Srila Prabhupada here in Vrindavan, I told him of the incident. And, we had learnt Bhagavad Gita, many, many verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, and we were the first devotees to know this. Nobody knew any verses. So Prabhu was extremely excited and very happy that we knew. So then he quoted me this verse. And this verse is here because I will just read it. We'll go on with, it's all combined, it's all the same thing. But he's saying here, it is saying here, O King, in this way the people of the Dwarpa Yuga worship the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Now listen about the method of worship in Kali Yuga, prescribed in various scriptures. Krishna Varnam, Tvisha Krishnam, Sangopangashta Parsadam, Yagnesh Kirtana Praya, Yajantihi Shumedasa. So this verse here, Krishna Varnam, not the same colors. I will read the translation, and this is a very translation without any doubt, the meaning of this verse. if you want to get literally into actually the word for word, we have expanded. Because when we read the Nectar Devotion, Prabhupada always said, Srimati, Radharani, and Krishna, they went off to the forest. We've all read this Nectar Devotion, and everywhere Prabhupada's mentioning Radharani. And he's quoting Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's not there, it just says Shri. It doesn't say Radha. But our acharyas, and they have all given us that this Shri, when he says this Shri, he's meaning Radharani, Srimati Radharani. So here, these Parsadams, or these Angas, they are meaning the Panchatattva, they are meaning the other associates of Lord Chaitanya, and in this translation, it is saying that very nice and clearly. Translation: one who advises on Krishna's name by chanting Hare Krishna, or one who is busy in the search of Lord Krishna through chanting of Krishna's name, whose limbs are Sriman Nityananda and Advaita, whose sublimbs are his surrendered pure devotees like Srivas, whose weapon is Harinam, whose associates are Sri Gadadhar, Damodar, Shwarup, Brahmananda, Sanatan, Rupa, etc., who is non-black in complexion, yellow or of molten gold color. That Lord Gaurasundar, who was originally Krishna, but being imbued with the brilliant golden complexion of Srimati Radharani, appeared in a molten gold complexion as Lord Gauranga, is worshipped in Kali Yuga by the highly intelligent persons through Sankirtan Yajna. Jayam sada paribhava graham abhishtadoham kirtatspanam shivigirin chinutam saranyam pratyartiham pranatha palabdabhav dikotam bande mahapurushate charanaravindam. Sriman Mahaprabhu's appearance day is in 13 days. So, in this type of time previously, over the last so many 30, 40, I always read the Chaitanya Bhagavat starting in the beginning of February or even middle of January, because the mood is there. And so this mood is there to hear of the divine God of Kali Yuga. I met with one person, a family member of mine who was into one of these big yogis in India. And he's a Mayavadi. And so actually it was my sister, my older sister. And I said, what's this guy doing for you? Nothing, he doesn't know anything. And how do you know what he says? I said, well, what do we need to know? Have you gone to see him? I said, I don't need to go. So you just think you know everything? I said, okay, I'll ask you one question. Does he tell you Lord Chaitanya is God in Kali Yuga? He said, no. Then I said, he's around. And she didn't talk to me for 2 years. But now she's worshiping Lord Chaitanya. So that is the fact. That in this age, it is said, just like as Babaji said, when you go from one kingdom to the next, that king who is the king of that kingdom, you must honor and worship him. So there are other, lords. There is Narayan. There is, Nrsimhadev. There is many forms of God. But in this kingdom of Kali, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God. And those who are intelligent enough, it says here, Yajanti hi Shumeda, they have a special intelligence, brain cells, and special, they have done the service. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says in his 100 prayers, in the Satbhuj form of the Lord, when he manifested that form in Puri, he says in one of those prayers, after 100 births of worshipping Radha Krishna, one comes to worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he doesn't come in every Kali Yuga. He doesn't come in every time. Krishna is always enacting his pastime in every universe on a schedule. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's schedule is not like that. And when he comes, it is so magnanimous, there is no comparison. There is no qualification, basically. Shraddhavan, Ojano He, Shraddhavan. Nityananda said when he went door to door. Shraddhavan, Ojano He, Shraddhavan Jan. Prabhu Agai Bhai Magi Evika. By the order of my master, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I've come to beg something from you. What is that? On the order of my master. Prabhu Agai Bhai Magi Evika. Bolo Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Koro Krishna Sikha. Aparad Shunya Hoya Krishna. Sing out Krishna. Bolo Krishna, worship Krishna. Koro Krishna Shiksha. Learn the teachings. And aparad Shunya. Make all the aparads zero. That is my diksha. Radha Krishna Bolo Re Sabai. You know, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Radha Krishna Bolo Re Sabai. Radha Krishna Bolo Sange Cholo E Matra Bhikachai. I am also begging, Bhaktivinoda is written. Radha Krishna Bolo Sange Cholo E Matra Bhikachai. I have a bhiksha too. Get in the Sangha. Radha Krishna Sange Cholo E Matra Bhikachai. Jump in our Sangha, jump in our association, and hear about the Radha and Krishna. Then, Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharashya Rihinaha Rasa Varajam Rasopiyasha Param Drishtva Nivartate. Then you get a taste. And when you taste that taste, you can never go back. You can never go back. Sometimes you can go back by aparad or forgetfulness. Beginners may also not have strong enough. But we must continue. But you will never forget it. And you will never give it up. Even if it takes another lifetime. You will always wonder and you will always want how I had that. It was so nice. Because it is superior. Rasa Varjam. It is superior taste. Sometimes we have heard some arguments of sometimes a guru. Somebody is telling you that I have realized the absolute truth. I have seen the truth. I know what I have realized, the supreme truth. So therefore I have taken it upon myself and I will give you diksha. Come here. Take this mantra, chant this mantra, you will realize the truth. But then he goes away. How is it? How is it that someone who is bathed in the sunlight and suffered and burnt in this material world, and the moon comes up and he experiences the moon of Krishna consciousness and again wants to go back into that fire? Yeah, he's not got in the moonlight yet. Not got there. One who is gone will never come back. Yet gatvana nivartante tadama paramamama. One who has got there will never drop back down here. It's not possible. Anybody here ever been in a jail? I mean, as a devotee, I've been in jail 5 or 6 times just for chanting. So on that level, I've been in jail. I know. If you've gone preaching around the world, you will end up in jail somewhere. In the police station, demons, they don't like this. They don't want this. But who is going to go there? And I've also preached in prisons, in India and also in America. I've gone in these places and spoken. Now, will I go back to that prison and say, hey, this is a good life? Thank you. I only went in because I know I'm going out. But who would want this type of lifestyle? Once who has tasted freedom, why would one want to give that up and go back if he's tasted it? That means he didn't taste it. He didn't get sufficient dunk. Cheto darpanam arjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. You have to go in the ocean. Bhava, the ocean of material essence. You have to dive in the ocean of prema. Bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. Sreya Kairava Chandrika Vicharanam Vidyavadu Jivana. Sreya Chairava, again the moon. The moon example is there. Sreya Chairava Chandrika Vicharanam Vidyavadu. What does Vidyavadu mean? Vidya is knowledge and Vadu is your wife. Who is your wife? In Krishna is knowledge. Knowledge, your wife is knowledge. Your knowledge, that is your wife. You're always with knowledge. One man is always with his wife. He's always with knowledge. Transcendental knowledge. Vidivadu Jivana. He's always in that, and he's dumped in that ocean. Chandrika, soothing ocean. We are only burning. It is blaming fire. Samsara dhavanala loka. Every single day, something. The agitation. Always the disturbance. So, as more we put our consciousness. Prabhu told me at my initiation, he said, your name is Guru Kripa. That means one who has the mercy of the Guru. And he said, actually everyone has the mercy of the Guru. He said, just like everyone has the opportunity to go in the sun. But if you want to avoid the sun, then you cannot benefit. So we all have an opportunity to bask in the mercy of our previous acharyas and absorb what they've given us, these translations, these verses, how the six Goswamis pulled these out, the jewel of all these verses of the Vedas. You can read here in I was reading also in this canto and in Bhagavad Gita, where the Vedas are very confusing because it's very hard to understand what they're talking about. Because it's just like they say, Prabhupada gives the example that when you want to give a child some medicine, it's bitter, and first you tempt him with a little sweet, and then he goes for that and you stick that in his mouth and then he puts it through. So the Vedas tempt you because they tempt you with this description of the heavenly planets, flowery words, Veda Vada Rata Partha. These are descriptions of the heavenly planets and you know the beaches of diamonds and mountains of emeralds and the sense enjoyment. It is all there. You achieve that. But it's temporary. Brahma bhuvana loka punaravartino arjuna mamupete konteya punarajanma. You have to come back here again. You have to drop down and shine marte marta lokam vishante. Again you drop down here. So, but why do they do that? Why would you trick people and why would you make it appear interesting? The thing is we've all traveled. Presently and for a long time I live in the country of Thailand. And these people are mad. They worship the demigods. They're worshiping Brahma. They're worshiping Ganesh. They're worshiping Shiva. They go to the Rahu temple. They go anywhere where they think, if I go there, they don't go to Christians or Muslims. They don't do that. So they do, and they worship Buddha. That's the principle. But they go to these Chinese temples too. Have you ever seen these Chinese temples? There's one near my place I go by almost daily. They got these three guys with beards. If you've been around Chinatown anywhere, you'll see these fellows. They're like the three gods of the lower worlds. And they got the beards and the weird Chinese hats and the robes, and there's these statues. And they bring them out in front. They're selling garlands with a plate, with slabs of pork and eggs, and a little glass of whiskey. This Kamagoon puja going on here. They're bringing this into these places, and I just thought, what the heck are they doing? You know? And then, you know, the next day they'll go to a Shiva temple, and what goes on there, they'll worship Shiva. Even the last prime minister, he was going to a Rahu temple to put the spell on his guy running against him. So this type of madness comes because they are so lusty for material enjoyment, so blinded by this greed to have it, that they cannot, see beyond anything else. And they do all of these things for transient, material, temporary pleasures, which come and go, and you end up with zero. You spend your money and you wasted it, and then you work so hard. But everyone is so blinded. Such a sacrifice they do. This is Maya's job, and to this type of person is very, very difficult to introduce pure devotion to the demigod worshippers and the Buddhists and so forth. But if by chance, and we have those that took to the chanting because they're open, then they also can become purified and they can get a higher taste. So let me read this verse here. Jayam Sadi Sada Parima. This is, well, everyone should know this. I came across this today, and then I said, wow, I haven't chanted that verse in 10 years. But I memorized these verses, and I was like, wow, this is like a big find again. Bande Maha Purushate Charanadaminda. Well, protector of the refugees. We're not meaning Syrian refugees. That's not our business. They've left one suffering and to go to another place. Sorry. You're coming for sense gratification. You're not coming for seva. Prabhupada, I heard him the other day saying, very nice. How many tapes Prabhupada has made, how many lectures? And I thought I'd heard them all, but each time I hear something I didn't hear. He said Hitler, he started a war over sense gratification. And then Churchill said, no, that we don't want that kind of sense gratification. We want this kind of sense gratification. So he fought back because ultimately the fight was over sense gratification, and you have your way of sense gratification, I have my way of sense gratification, and we disagree. But ultimately, it's sense gratification. But Krishna, he's the protector of the refugees, those who are running from the burning heat of the material existence. Those who have seen what is the use of this place. What is the use of your life if you have not realized the cause behind everything? You have not understood who made this pineapple, this apple, this eggplant, these cows. What an animal. They eat grass and they give milk. I was a kid, I used to think, wow, how do they do that? Eating grass. I can't eat grass, I'll die. But they eat it and they live because that's their food. I was looking, I got some videos from one godbrother's here. Like 2 terabytes in this thing. He's got all this astrology thing. But one file is Krishna conscious stuff. And he's got all these from the Indian government videos from 1933, 1935, 1940. Banaras in 1933. Can you imagine how nice it was? And they showing the Indian elephants in the forest with their big ivory tusks. Nowadays they'd kill them. The tusk is worth so much for, these were picking up the logs and just hitting the tree with their head, knocking down trees and pulling them. And he eats grass. He eats leaves. And he has so much strength. So this is all Krishna's arrangement, how they, these things are, everything is placed in this world. And if one isn't interested to know, he can't even sit down for a little while and try to understand it, then he's no better than an animal. And when we say that, people may not like it, but it's a fact. If one is not trying to understand, Manushanam sahaslesu kashinyatati siddhaye. Out of many thousands, maybe one is interested a little bit to know anything. And they've only speculated. I know I grew up in the Catholic way. And it's all speculation. He went to heaven. No, Shastra says if you eat cows, then those animals are waiting for you at the time of death to attack you. And you have to be eaten by them. They're waiting for you. And they're thinking he went to heaven, he's a good man. And then you ask him, what's heaven? Oh, well, there's no McDonald's in heaven. Really? I don't want to go there. You know, they think heavens would be having McDonald's. So Muslims think heaven is having a bunch of sex. And here we are, we don't care for any of that stuff. What are they talking about? But they don't know, because they're speculating. And if they can hear from the scripture, then they can, you know, hear it all scientifically, and all in an arranged way. So let me just read this here, and then we ask some questions. O protector of refugees, O absolute truth, O supreme Lord, O Lord of incessant meditation, you are the refuter of anti-devotional paths like karma, jnana, and yoga. This is Lord Chaitanya. You are the distributor of Krishna prema and the shelter of all pilgrimages like Gaur Mandala, Kshetra Mandala, and Braj Mandala. You are also the shelter of exalted devotees who are followers of Sri Rupa Goswami in the lineage of Brahma community of Sriman Anantatirtha or Madhvacharya. O Lord, you are glorified by Sri Advaita Prabhu, the incarnation of Lord Shiva, and the Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur, the incarnation of Brahma. Now, you may say Brahma. This Brahma? No, not this Brahma. There are millions and trillions of Brahmas. So another Brahma. Instead of maybe going back to, because at the end of the annihilation and the end of the close-up of everything, Brahma takes his devotees and he can go to Vaikuntha. Or he can come back for another round. But he's seen the destruction and the suffering, they go with their people. So this Brahma must have wanted to enter into the pastimes, seeing, because they see all these pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. So he came and became Namacharya. The highest person in the universe became the Namacharya to do bhajan like this. You are the destroyer of the pains of your leprosy, Brahmana devotee, and you are like the rescue boat for Sarvabhauma, Pataparudra, and others who desire to attain you. Hence, I utilize your lotus feet. O Supreme Lord, you have appeared as the world's preceptor by accepting the garb of a sannyasi to play the role of an acharya in order to propagate the path of devotional service. You are the crest jewel of all followers of the path of loving devotional service. Being overwhelmed by the detached feelings of Srimati Radharani from Sri Krishna, you had accepted sannyas order of life on the pretext of the Brahmana's curse by giving up the position coveted by the demigods. You had also abandoned Vishnu Priya, the embodiment of Lakshmi Devi, who was more dear than the heart. You had rejected liberation, knowledge, and opulence. You had showered your causeless mercy upon people who were running behind the illusory deer of money, women, and prestige, or virtue, wealth, lust, and liberation. You had scratched everywhere for the master of your heart, Sri Krishna, to whom Srimati Radharani desired to get, as she had expressed before Vishaka. You were also overwhelmed by the feelings of the gopis for getting Sri Radharaman. Hence, I am glorifying your lotus feet. O King, in this manner, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, the giver of the most valuable treasure, Krishna praying, Lord Chaitanya, has been worshipped by the people in every yuga in various forms and names of the Lord. So, the other day, Gargamuni Prabhu, I wanted to mention something. People heard Gargamuni Prabhu's class? He mentioned that it's very just incomprehensible, and when you think of it in this way, that here, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Person, the cause of everything, Vasudeva Sadhamiti, everything, us, our senses, the sense objects, everything is Him. There is nothing other than Krishna. His detached energy is there. But personally, He's entered into that. And now, He is leaving and taking this position of renunciation. So for us to conceive of how merciful that is. Because we don't really feel any mercy almost from anybody. Nobody cares. You're wandering in this world, and people really don't care. Everybody's so self-absorbed, and we're all struggling in this ocean of material nescience, and everybody is suffering. Nobody even understands how bad they're suffering. I can give you a slight idea about it. Just think of it in this way. I was thinking about this stuff yesterday. How much this we have to do through involuntarily, and we don't even realize it because we're so conditioned. We have this body, okay? Now look what it does. It burps without our wanting it to. The eyes water. We pass gas. We can just go on for like 2 hours here. You got scraps, like right now my nose, you're just sitting there constantly, this body's causing problems. You're getting headaches, you're getting backaches. It's doing, it's doing all types of things functioning. Involuntarily, these things are just happening to the body. It's sleeping it. It's everything. You just go on with all the noises it makes. I thought of a whole bunch of them yesterday. I'm not thinking of them right now, but you can just think about it, what it does. And we're not even noticing, and we're still thinking, I'm this thing? Am I this burp? What's this thing I'm sitting in that's really made not nice? It's not nice. The sound of the urine. You got to hear that all the time. The sound of the stool. When you got to clean up all. We just are so dull that we can't even get it. So this conditioning makes it very difficult. So here Lord Chaitanya came amongst the conditioned souls who accepted these illusionary bodies, and he himself renounced everything. Now that's heartbreaking for devotees to think about that. Bhagavad was feeling that energy and feeling upset about that. But I'll tell you, most of the Vaishnavas, they can hear of the Lord taking sannyas. Because, yes, but what they can't hear, and I've seen it time and again, and I've gone and I've heard different Vaishnavas speak, they can't, excuse me, read the part. His hair is cut off. That breaks the heart. Krishna's beautiful hair. It's not the sannyas, it's the hair. Krishna's hair, can you imagine the beauty? You can see this beautiful hair of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu getting cut off. That, the devotees, they stop. They can't see it. And you have a whole large group of these sahajas in Navadvip and Mayapur that they don't want to hear one word of Mahaprabhu and Puri. Up to his, they don't want to hear anything about him. They dye their hair. And they make him. They try to think they're Lord Chaitanya. That's one of the sahaja ways to act like God or something. And then you think of him. And no, don't speak of the Lord. He's gone away. The sahajas. So it's his pastime, and it's his mercy. And now again, the Lord is leaving us. He's coming again for our appearance here. So I just would like to say that this higher taste is that Prabhupada's mentioning here. There's no difficulty to refrain from sense enjoyment. You just change the sense enjoyment. We used to eat, and now we still eat. It's just different. We sleep, but now we sleep and we have nice dreams. We're not lost. In our dreams, we're seeing things and places we never could imagine. And, it's not a negative thing, it's just positive. Just change what you're doing from negative to positive. Just like electricity. It'll start the heater and it'll start the refrigerator. So you just change it, from the heat of material existence to the coolness of the refrigerator. And it's gradual, it takes some time, But still, what is it? You know, I just 66 years old. Some of you are older than me, some are younger. But Lord Chaitanya was only here 500 and something years ago. What is that? What was the 60 or 70 years that we've already spent? It was like a minute. Just like a minute, isn't it? We talk about, you know, when I was 20. You know, that's like 45 years ago, and that's like, it was like yesterday. And I still feel like that, and we remember those days, you know? And although we were young and full of energy and we could jump like that high in the kirtan and go on for 7 or 8 hours a day on a bowl of khichdi, you know, it was wonderful. Now maybe we can't execute like that, but we have another, when Krishna takes something, he gives something. We have the maturity, the peace, the understanding, and we know, you see it. It's the dead end. You can talk all you want, you can say, I'll take it up later, but I feel really sorry for those devotees who are those people of the world who especially many devotees who have neglected their bhajan over all these years, and now they get older, they cannot take it. They come here. I met a couple of Indian bodied devotees. They're coming from California, husband and wife. And they asked me, where do you come from? I said, I grew up in San Francisco. They said, oh, it's a nice city. I said, okay. Where do you come from? Sacramento. Sacramento is about 90 miles from San Francisco. And if you know anything about San Francisco is a peninsula. So on one side you have the ocean, and on the other side you have the bay. So it's surrounded by water. It's not an island, it's a peninsula. 3 sides of the water. And the ocean of the Pacific Ocean in that area is quite cold. It goes in the 50s. 50 degrees, 55, 57, 58. Very difficult to go in the ocean there. We're quite cold. In the summer it's different, a little higher. But, and there's hills around there. And when you go through the tunnel, the Bay Bridge, or the Golden Gate Bridge, you know, everybody knows the Golden Gate Bridge. Then you go through the tunnel, through that mountain, and you go down the hill, you go from, then you go to Sacramento, which is the other direction, but it's the other bridge, but it's 60, 70 miles away, 1 hour. There, it will be in the summer, 44 degrees Celsius. And in San Francisco, it will be 22. Because the cold air sucks that heat and creates fog. So it's quite chilly, and it's nicer in the summer. It's warmer in the summer, in the winter in San Francisco than it is there, because it's colder there. It's the valley. So that's why Mark Twain said the coldest winter of my life was the summer in San Francisco. And we made a lot of money from the tourists. They all come in the morning, it's beautiful. And then they all got their short shirts on and they're going on the boat to see the Alcatraz prison and the tourist spots. And we all wear sweatshirts. And they go, what are you people selling sweatshirts? I said, I'll see you at about 3 o'clock. Because then that heat from the valley would come up, and then that cold air from the ocean, it would hit, and then you get the fog. And it drops 20 degrees. And they all would come by. But the point is she was saying, as I'm from Sacramento. And I said, oh, you can have that country. And, you know, they were Indians that went to the West. And now they can't come back. They can't do this. That's what I was saying. When you get older, they can't do it. She was saying, oh, this place is so dirty. I said, it's Vrindavan dust. That's the problem. She said, oh, I don't like India. I said, I don't like India either. I like the holy places. You know, I've had Indians ask me, how do you like about India? I said, I hate it. I said, but I like the holy place. I only go through India to get to a different holy place. Otherwise, I have no interest. And she became angry at me, the lady, you know. I said, you can have it. It's all Mexicans, Indians, and Koreans, Vietnamese. Not the America I grew up in. You know, when I was a kid, California, the big state, 5 million people, now 40 million. Oh, it was so nice. You could go pick grapes and cherries and nobody bothered you. No, they didn't care as long as you didn't take boxes. They take what you want. Anyway, it should be candid. But it's a fact. People who neglected their bhajan, it becomes very difficult. So the more we can step it up a little bit and hang on to it is good. And especially the karmis. I saw these fellows, this guy over here speaking. Who was that fellow? This professional speaker. He's in the Balaram Hall the last week.
Yeah.
Bhagavat Sapta. Getting paid. I don't, they don't speak Prabhupada's mood. Why I was saying today, you see I did a little kirtan, everything Prabhupada way. I don't know anything else. See, I've never been influenced by anybody but Srila Prabhupada. When I came, I knew zero. And I copied him. I copied the way he chanted. I used to watch him play kartals every day. See exactly how he wrapped his finger. And I'd stand there, and try, and it took a while and I got it down. Everything. So when I sing something that reminds me of something he sang so I can remember him. That's the potency. That's whatever potency I have because I'm thinking of him or Vishnu John or one of my god brothers that inspired me, and then I get Shakti. But if you're not doing that and you're getting from this guy and that, there's no potency. It isn't going to change anybody. And no matter old people, they come and I look, oh man, they're trying to dance, but they when they were young, they misused their senses too much. Now it's too late. At least they're doing it. It's good. But it's hard to teach an old dog a new trick. And it's very hard to absorb anything when your body is not like this. So, that's my opinion of the fellow. No Shakti for me. And when you've been around Srila Prabhupada and Bhakti Vibhav Prabhu's Godward and advanced devotees like, so many, Brahmananda, all these great souls, very close to me in Brahmananda. Even though he was so big, was he potent? He was so in love with Prabhupada, that's all he knew. Day and night, The many, many devotees like this. Their life and soul was Prabhupada. And that's all. And that's all we'll do next life. Except I made one thing, stipulation with Prabhupada. Next time, I can come wherever you're at, but I ain't taking the birth in a immediate family again. I did that this life for you, but I ain't doing it again. I don't want to be born in that same environment. But we can do that. So I'm just saying the Shakti's got to be there, and that only comes from Prabhupada. You can't get it. And those that have it, they got it from Prabhupada, and they got it by remembering him and following his example of the way he spoke and the way he presented Krishna consciousness. And every word was Krishna consciousness, and every conclusion was do bhajan, do chanting, do mantra. You hear it. Now chant Hare Krishna. Then we would chant. Now chant Hare Krishna. I seen Prabhupada's godbrother, Bhakti Vibhav Puri, was Prabhupada's friend. I was with him up until 98 years old he was. Then he left. He left on his own. You know that? It was 5 years ago. He never let anybody wash his clothes. He had hundreds of disciples. Many big sannyasis he had. It's very strict. Not one of them ever fell down. And he just said, I made my GBC, I set everything up. I don't know if anybody's qualified, but I've done, I'm going today. This is in Vishakhapatnam. He told his servant, you bring that picture of Radha Krishna and Bhakti Siddhanta, put it on my chest, I'm leaving. He wasn't sick. He laid down gone. That's a rationale. That's a potency. And all they'd say was chant Hare Krishna. They never told all fancy stuff, just like Prabhupada. They spoke of Dhruva Maharaj, tears flowing from their eyes. They would never go into the Radha Krishna Leela. I saw Srila Prabhupada in Madras. We stayed in one rich people's house. One thing wonderful, they had the biggest tulsi Prabhupada had ever seen or we'd ever seen. The Tulsi was that thick. Prabhupada said there must be some special devotion here. Look at how big she is. And then I saw them go in Prabhupada's room at 4 in the morning. So I snuck by the door to hear what's going on. Prabhupada was under mosquito net. You know, we always used to speak. Everything Prabhupada did. Never did he disappoint me. Not once. Not once I could find a fault. And every time my faith increased, my faith. We don't know how much faith we don't really have. We really don't know. Prabhupada brings it out when you get that. And many of his disciples, you may understand that when he left, many of them thought he was a common man. You can't see Krishna without Krishna revealing himself. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena. That love has got to be there. And if you loved Prabhupada, then he revealed himself. And if you didn't, you thought like this, you wanted that, you weren't surrendered, that realization didn't come. He was just a great man, or he was this. Just like Krishna. Prabhupada said not more than 40 people knew he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They thought he was a great demigod, he was, something else, some great ruler, but they couldn't, only those that loved him. Yashoda, his mother, Rukmini, the clover. In other words, not easy to understand. And even today, some people walk around, I'm Prabhupada disciple. What do you know about him? You're nothing but Maya disciple, Prabhupada disciple. We wish to be his disciple in some life. But they are so proud. I took some, what did you take? You don't know who he is. You're looking at a jar of honey. You haven't tasted it. You don't know. I don't like this type of devotee to use that ego. Not initiated. What is that? So to see what Prabhupada is and to follow his mood is what we look for. We're not copycats. We have our own personalities. But the mood must be there. The way he did everything, the way he chanted japa, the way he, not that we copy his walking or talking or anything, but the mood, the energy should, if you have that you do that on purpose so you remember him and then you get Shakti. Honestly, that's my philosophy. Any questions?
Story about Shiva.
Just told you the story. Follow him, that's all. Don't be like him. Lord Shiva took the potion of poison in his throat. Prabhupada took on the whole world. We can't do that. I used to think I could do it. But then we gradually realized year after year, how? At 70 years old, he left. Look at us, 70, what we can do. He got on the boat, and then went around the world 12 times, and he never had jet lag. He would show up after a 10-hour flight and go sit in his room, and maybe take the rest, and on schedule, he'd start translating the books. It didn't matter, well, it's still 10 in the morning there, and I'm doing this. He was beyond the laws of nature. No laws of nature affected him. And people that don't appreciate that, they just want to earn or, get their own disciples or get something and they've forgotten. They don't know. At least the benefit is we've seen personal-handed, and we can give that. And to have that, everyone, if they got that chance, then they have to see it through his disciples at least, directly. And then others will see it from you, because it's going on. We'll be gone. In 20 years, there won't be anybody. Bhaktisiddhanta's disciples, they're all gone. There's none left. And if there is one or two tucked away somewhere, they're not exposing themselves because they're quite old. So all we have of Bhaktisiddhanta is what they gave and what the history was given. So what Prabhupada had, he was like that. So, I think that, that people that start all these weird tunes and stuff, I'm old school, that's all. I'm old school, It's just like if you loved your wife. When you hear that song that you used to listen to together, then you remember your wife, don't you? Yeah, we used to dance to that when we first met. Oh, yeah, that was our song. So when Prabhupada sings out, that's what we sang in those days on the street when we spent 10 hours a day. Not go have a big belly of nice food like now, then you come back after an hour. We went out there on barely any food. We had no money. And we spent 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours. You know, and come back to a glass of banana milk. You know, you're always hungry. You know, when you're in your early 20s, you're hungry. Hungry all day. You can eat all day. But, you know, that's all Krishna gave. So we had to be satisfied. You know, now it's a little different. Now they're fighting in Mayapur over the buildings. They're just bricks. That's all they are. Krishna doesn't have to live there. He says, I don't live there, Yogi Nam. I live in the heart of my devotees. I'm not in Vaikuntha. Ham Tishtanti Vaikunte. I'm not in the Vaikuntha. I'm where my devotees chant. I'm not with the yogis. I'm with my devotees. They're just bricks and bones and steel. They're meant to attract the materialistic devotees. Advanced devotees don't need a temple. Prabhupada, he went to America, he didn't bring deities. I mean, everybody brings their deities. Guys walking around with them on their head. I don't get that. Krishna, gotta see Krishna. You know, if it helps him, that's okay. But you know, Prabhupada didn't even bring any deities. Just think of that. I have my deities that Prabhupada installed. I have only the Sringadevi installed. I don't bring him the last 5 years. He stays at home. And Goni Tai, like 300 years old, very nice old deity. Prabhupada also took many darshan. But you know, here's Krishna. Why are you going to bring that? He's eating here. He'll eat there. I do by some meditation often when I eat. Prabhupada didn't bring a deity. He just went with some books in the name. So this is, you know, fantastic. So do we have any questions? That's the story. Everybody can appreciate that, you know? So?
My English is not good.
All right.
I speak Spanish, but I'm going to try to ask what I want. What was the natural position of the soul before coming to this material world?
The question is, what is the natural position of the soul?
Yes. Where
before-
was the soul? Where
before-
was the soul at the
Do you know?
before?
Do you know?
Before.
Do you know? Where were you?
Where?
You're a soul,
Yes.
so where were you?
Where?
I'm asking you.
I am here.
No,
But
before.
where were you
Before.
before?
I don't know.
That's right. I don't know either. But I am here. So you answered your own question. I am here is all that matters. And what happens in the future is what matters. And where you came from, it doesn't matter. Some say you came from Vaikuntha. Some say you never went there. Some say there's the border, the Tatashta, you could have gone on either side. I thought about it, and it doesn't matter. All I gotta do, it's just like if you're hungry. What does it matter? You gotta eat today. If your children are hungry, you gotta feed them. What does it matter how you lost your money? You gotta deal with what is important. And right now, we've got a material body. We're the soul. We don't have a bright future. We're changing these bodies continually. Now I gotta realize, and as Prabhupada always answered, when you get out of the ocean of misery, you will know where you came from, how you fell in. But when you're drowning, you're not thinking how I fell off the boat. You're just thinking how to get to the life raft. So when that time comes, you'll know. And that's how Prabhupada left it. And I've seen people go on for days talking and wasting their time when they could be chanting an extra 10 rounds. And that'll benefit them. Not this mental speculation and talking. They don't know. What does it matter? Trying to prove it. They've written books. And one devotee wrote the book. I forget his name. He was here. Somebody wrote a whole book on it. quoting Jiva Goswami this. Now he's eating meat. He doesn't believe in Krishna consciousness. He thought it was just part of his life experience. You know what I'm talking about. What's his name?
Kundalini.
Kundalini, yeah. Kundalini.
Kundalini.
Spend months over there writing all this nonsense. Very intelligent guy. Now he thinks it's all, Krishna's all fiction. So just, you know, I mean, like Ragamuni said, Krishna consciousness is simply practical. You know, if I am, like they said, we were made, the Jews or Jesus said, we were made in the image of God. So what is that image? Here, we present you, Krishna. Can you give us a better image? We say Krishna, the all-attractive one. Can you give us a better name of God? Not possible. I told them in the Catholic schools I'm giving classes, if you can give me something better, I will go do it. I'm still open. I haven't seen Krishna, so I don't really believe in him yet. You won't believe in him until you see him with your spiritual eyes. There's always a doubt. We don't know. But we're so protected because there is nothing else. We're not fanatics. There is no place. By our logic and our knowledge and our charity, I haven't seen anything, any book or anybody that brings something better, and we'll go. Higher taste. They don't have anything. So we're good here. Jai Krishna consciousness. Jai Shri Prabhupada.